Hi, so you may have seen some of my videos where I provide like weekly updates inside my business, Pawls and Pencils Art. And then for those of you that are subscription box subscribers, you'll have seen some of my tutorials. Also in the past, I've done some updates of like hints and tips and that kind of a thing. But what I thought I'd start doing is just show you how I sort of work on drawings that aren't for like my subscription boxes. So at the moment I'm working on a commission and it's someone's two dogs. So I've done one of the dogs and it's not by any means finished, but I've done both the dogs. Done that dog. It's not complete. I need to flip the drafting film over and then sort of make it sort of pop on the back. Well, to make the, because basically with if you don't know much about drafting film, you get double matte drafting film, and so the ones that I tend to use is I use Polydraw for my tutorials for my subscription box subscribers, and then when I'm doing commissions I tend to use graphics, and they have to be double matte. So what that means is you can, because they only take a few amount of layers, you can only do a certain amount of layers. It's totally different from when you use pastel matte, where you can put loads and loads of layers on, and it needs it because there's a lot of grain on it. So this hasn't got any grain, so that's why you really have to plan what you're doing and where it's all going. But if you find that you've run out of layers and you really do need to make it make it even darker, then what you need to do is flip over the drafting film, colour on the back the areas that you want to go dark, and then when you flip it back over, it comes through and you'll have had the depth that you require. So I just thought I'd do some filming and show you what I'm actually working on at the moment and what I'll do. Let me just zoom in and let's have a look. Oh, there's the zoom button. Okay, so just gonna work on the nose at the moment, and what I'll do is I'll talk you through why I'm doing things, why I'm choosing a colour, why I'm using the technique, that kind of a thing. So the nose of this, I think this is a tricolour Cavalier. So you'll see the nose it's not fully black. So I'm going to use on this, for this I've been using the Pablo brownish beige, so I'm going to use that. I'm going to use the Polychromos black, so I've got this in a pencil extender because this is getting quite short to hold, and pencil extenders are a brilliant tool to have. So I'm going to use that. I am going to use, so I've got pencils that are overlapping two projects at the moment. I'm doing a black puppy tutorial, so some of the pencils are going backwards and forwards in between the two projects, but so I'm going to use this Pablo ivory black, and this provides more darkness than the Polychromos will. Now there is a pencil that does get an even deeper black on it, and that's the Derwent Drawing ivory black. And the difference is, if you haven't seen one of these before, is that it's got a thicker core and it's softer. But I don't think I'm going to use that yet. I may use it on the flip side when I try and darken the areas. So I've got that. I'm going to, I've got any white, yeah, I might use some white. So there you go. It's another one in a pencil extender. I've got quite a few pencil extenders on the go here. See what else I've got here. I'm looking for a cold grey one, and I think I found it. Yeah, so this is quite small. I can probably just get away with using it without a pencil extender. And what else have I got? I might use, if I can find it, a museum aquarelle. Right, there it is. So this one's quite small as well. So that's for the project. Sorry, I'm just trying to work out which ones are which now. This is the other one, right? So this is a museum aquarelle, and as you can see, it's very small. They're usually very big. This is a watercolor pencil, but you can also get a good effect using it dry, but it'll also work nicely doing the nose as well. So I'm going to start. So as you can see, I've already started working on the nose. Now with this, I've got line art taped to the board, and then I've got the drafting film on the top. And what that does, it just saves you drawing on the surface, and you don't have the pencil mark. And then what you can do is, if you want to work out, to see what it looks like without the line art underneath, then what I tend to do, depending on the colour that I'm working on, so if there's a lot of white, I'll use a grey bit of paper. This is Strathmore toned grey paper, and so that will show me all the white. So I've worked on white there. There you go, on that part. And so I used this to help me with that. But when I'm using the darker colours, then I don't tend to need it as much. But sometimes it's always nice to sort of have a look to see what it's going to look like once the once the artwork's finished. So I'm just working on this. So I've already started on it, and I've got a reference photo, so I print it out, as you can see there. But what I do is I also have it on my iPad, and then what I can do with the iPad is I can zoom in on the piece that I'm actually working on, and it makes the area larger, so then I can see what I'm working on, and it cuts everything else out, and I can see the detail up close. So with this, with this surface, you need to use a very light pressure on it, because it can't take many layers. So just want to, I'm doing a little round circular motion on there. So what I do with my commissions is, because when people, what I tend to do is I tend to get a deposit, so people can secure their slot. And then what I do is, throughout the duration of the commission, I provide my clients updates. One, so that they can see how I'm progressing, and two, I just think it sort of adds an element of trust, that they can see that you're working on their, on their artwork. So I'm just slightly adding very lightly adding colour. And I'm just checking to see if I need any more colours to choose from. Let's have a look. I think I'm going to need, what's this? I need a cold grey 6, I think, because underneath here it's not black as such, but this is quite dark. So I'm just gonna, but I can add it as a underlayer as well. So let's just go in with that. So because I'm using different, I use different brands of pencils. So you've got, these ones are very sort of, I've got a very like hard inner core, and it's, you can get them to a really nice point, and they're great for like getting fine detail. And then you've got the Pablo, which is still quite a firm point. These are Swiss made. This is from Caran d'Ache. There we go. Oh, there you go, Swiss made. And this is the ivory black, and the 3 stars on there indicate that it's light fast, so the pigment can last up to 100 years. And then you've got the Luminance, which is the same brand as the Pablo. These are absolutely beautiful. These are that really soft and creamy, really nice. And with all of these, you could, they can be expensive, but you can buy them as individual pencils. So whenever you're working on a project, you can just buy the pencils that you're going to need, because you may not need all of the pencils in a pencil set. So I'm gently adding on the cold grey 6 on the Pablo, just doing round circular motion on it. Oh dear, I can hear my son next door. He's playing on his PS5. Right. So I just want to sort of get a nice layer on it, and I'm just using small round circular motion on this. And you know, we don't want to sort of rush things like this, because what you want to do is, I mean, even on this part around like the ear and the eye and that kind, I've gone back in each time I've added a bit and added some more colour to balance it all out, so that it's got a more natural look to it. So it's still got a, you know, a flat look to it, but when we add our tonal values in, then, you know, it'll start taking on a more three-dimensional look to it. Okay, so I've got that bit on. So I just want to, I think it's going to need, each time I'm sort of seeing different colours. I'm going to use this walnut brown, so you can see it's quite dark, but it's around here. It just seems to have a browny kind of appearance to it. So when you're choosing I don't know whether you've sort of seen my how to choose colours for a black dog, but you know, you're going to see when you've got the light bouncing on off of different colours and different surfaces, you're going to see different colours. And so really have a look at what you can see whilst when you're choosing all the colours. And what I do in my animal art subscription box, I tend to choose the colour, well, I not tend to, but I do choose the colours for my subscribers, and I also provide some of the art materials as well. And you may find that the pencils that you receive 1 month, you'll be using them later on in another month in another tutorial. And I always sort of supply the pencils that are you're going to need most in that particular month's project. So I'm only gently sort of adding in, the colours. So I just want to go in with the Cold Grey 6. And whilst this does look like a line in the reference photo, we don't just draw a line in, we just softly just go backwards and forwards. So you can see a bit of the pigment coming through the fur. So I'm just going to add that in, but once once we add the white on top, then we will use a slice tool to use the subtraction technique to get our texture in. And if you've not seen one before, this is a slice tool, so the brand is Slice, and it's a ceramic blade, so it doesn't cut your finger. It's very safe, and we use it to sort of to subtract the pigment and to add other bits and pieces on it as well. Right. So I'm just working on this front part, the lighter part at the moment. I just wanted to get that in so that I knew roughly what I was working with. This is such a relaxing way to pass the time. Okay, use the brownish beige. So what you might find is the fact that this can take ages, but that's fine, because with using colour pencils, you do have to be patient, but that patience is rewarded with really good artwork. So obviously it's not as quick as painting, like using acrylics, watercolours, that kind of a thing, and like pastels as well, but it's really rewarding what the sorts of the sorts of drawings that you can get from using them. I mean, there's some fantastic colour pencil artists out there, and you can do so much with them, like landscape, you can do portraits, animals, and when you sort of take the time and don't rush it, it's great, to sort of see it. Right, so this is the cold grey 6 again. And I know with some disciplines you're told not to sort of use black, but in colour pencils, I think a lot of people like to use the black, but we don't just use black, we start with layers of other colours, depending on how rich the actual black is that you're going to be using, because you want to layer it up. So what you would do is, if you want really, really deep, rich black, then start with dark indigo and then add the black on top. Okay. Just going to go in with a bit of the polychromos black. So you can see I'm making very small movements here, just gently using my pencil, very, very lightly. Right, where's that? Oh, there it is, the walnut brown. I want that as walnut brown, not necessarily black, but I may change my mind a bit later. Okay, so I'm going to use the Pablo Ivory Black. Because I wanted to get it quite dark it's just darker than the polychromos. This one doesn't tend to need it as much. Depends on where the light's coming in from. Okay, so I'm going to go in with the black Pablo, sorry, the polychromos black. And I'm going to work on this side. Still doing those circular motion on there. So you've got a darker bit around this edge here. There's a lighter bit going over, so I will sort that out in a bit. Just get that Pablo, because under that's it, under here. It's darker. Okay, and I just want to go in with the black Pablo. So I'm just swapping backwards and forwards between the different brands of black pencils. And I want that Pablo brownish beige. So just going in very light around here as well, because this is going back into the white fur, which not come down that far yet, I don't think. I'll be able to tell if I put the different colour paper in. And what you have to keep doing as well is just keep looking at the direction of, like, say if you're working on the fur, you look at the direction that the fur is going. So with this nose, I'm looking at the direction of the pattern on the nose. It's looking a bit flat at the moment, but I'm just giving you an example of what it could look like. Just want that Pablo. Just doing small circular motion with this. See, what I tend to do as well is when I'm drawing is just to see what it looks like. Not only have I got it obviously in front of me, but when I'm filming I like to have a look on the camera just to sort of see, you know, if I can notice anything that needs changing. Just want to sharpen that a bit. Just take it out of the pencil extender. So yeah, there you go, you can see how small the pencil is, but these pencil extenders just give you extra on your pencils and it saves money. So the pencil sharpener I'm using here is a Faber-Castell one, which is what the brand is, these polychromos, but they suit quite a few different colours and brands. Right, let's put that back in. Okay. So you can just see I'm just building up layers very lightly. So when I'm working on drafting film, I like to try and keep my pencils as sharp as possible, because you can get much better quality out of it. Like you can make small details. Whereas if you were using drafting film, if you were trying to keep your pencils sharpened as often as you can, because it's such a bit of a rough surface, you would just be permanently sharpening them, and then you'd be going through so many. So with on that surface, it's fine to sort of make them, sort of don't stay as sharp. So what I'll also be doing in a moment, I'll show you as much as I can, but you'll see different stages of this drawing. When I do each one. So what I'll do is I'll film each section that I finish on this now, so you can see how it's progressing, and then I'll show you the next commission as well, and anything else that I'm working on, and show you different surfaces that I can work on, or that anyone can work on. Right, so this isn't nowhere near finished yet, the nose. Just going to try this Darwent drawing ivory black. Right. So it's a bit smoother on the top here. And we've got some pigment coming down underneath. Might come in with a slice tool in a moment. So you can sort of see it's gradually coming to life at the bottom there. This isn't going to be like, as you can see the darkness on there, but you can also see it's white on top. So at the moment the dark part on there is, you can see it quite a lot, but then it will actually be partially hidden by white when I actually get the slice tool on that part. I just want to lay the groundwork, the foundation for it first. Okay, so what I want to do, I'm just going to sharpen this aquarelle. Just going to dampen the end of it. So what that does is it adds the highlights to the dog's nose. Right, and what I want to do is go in with the polychromos black. Just darken that a bit. Because what I also find is well, when I'm doing this, sometimes I think it's done, and then it's, and you come back with a fresh pair of eyes, you can just sort of see, oh, something's been left out, or you need to sort of change the colour slightly, or you need to make some alterations, or when you're adding colour around it, you want to balance the colours out, which is what I did around here. So I've gone back in on that quite a few times just to sort of get it darker, balance it out, and then of course coming across here, sorted that out with the ear. I've gone in and made that darker because it was too light, and down the bottom part, I don't know whether I might need to sort of balance it out again, depending on what it's going to look like with the rest of the colours. So that's what I mean about, like, it does take a bit of patience, but it's the reward you get afterward is brilliant. It's just amazing. So I'm gonna, Need some more colour on it, but I don't want to make it too dark. I'm just going to see what this walnut brown can add to it. Because there's also, you've got to balance it out because you don't want to overwork it and then it becomes quite muddy. But there we go. I need to do something with this part as well because it's looks a bit flat on the screen. Alright, let's have a look so I can just add a bit. I'm using the museum aquarelle. Just dampen the edge, the ends of it. Been through quite a few of these pencils, but they're really, really good. I've used them dry and I've used them wet as well. There we go, so just said it was lighter around that part, didn't I? And because I've added some of the white pigment, it's starting to not look as flat. So I just keep looking backwards and forwards from what I'm working on to my drawing to the iPad screen. Just keep looking at it. And I just want to go in with that. See, I've been working on this for nearly about 50 minutes, and that's how much it takes to do that. But I love drawing in colour pencil. Okay. Let's have a look what that looks like zoomed out. I'll find my mouse. Let's have a look. So let's move the pencils off of there. There we go. So although this photo's dark, it's not got the same dark background, so I have to sort of pick it out from the background. But it's lighter, so what I will have to do is whilst I'm adding the colour in, the rest of the colour, balance everything out as I'm going along. But so I'm pleased with that so far. It does need darkening a bit, So I might just go ahead and do that a bit later on, and then I'll move on to this area. So you can see me do that next time. So thanks for tuning in.